Okay, welcome to the podcast of Ravenous Reels, where we break down movies and food that we pair with it. Today, I have a couple of guests. I've got Brock Bankson and Danny. What's your last name, Danny?
We'll keep it with Danny.
Danny is just Danny, like Cher. For today's meal, Brock, you want to tell us what we had?
Yes, we made pretty traditional steelhead baked in the oven with baked asparagus, and then for dessert we made a homemade blueberry pie.
Fitting for the movie.
Very much so.
The Stand By Me is what we're talking about. The 40th anniversary of the film is 2026. So we chose this movie, and we chose the pairing of the food to go with the movie. Of course, the blueberry pie for the Barfarama scene, and the steelhead, because, Brock, do you remember why we were doing that?
Yeah. The locality of where the film is set, and because of when they talk about the plan for the Cobras to go find the body of the dead kid, Kiefer Sutherland specifically mentioned, we just went up to pull a couple of steelhead out of the river, and look what we found. That's
right. That was their cover story in case the cops got them. So we thought that would be a fitting food to have with this movie. So I thought it might be interesting to start off with a little bit of trivia questions about the movie. Does that sound good, everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So which company bought the original studio just 2 days before filming and pulled funding?
The original studio?
Mm-hmm.
What was the original studio's name? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I don't know. All I know is Rob Reiner's Castle Rock on this one.
Right.
What do you got?
Well, actually, it was Coca-Cola. The company Coca-Cola had bought the original studio just 2 days before filming and pulled funding. Do you know who paid the $8 million to get out of his own pocket to save the movie?
Is it somebody involved with the movie?
No.
Not at all.
No.
I wouldn't know that either, actually.
That's a doozy.
Yeah. So Norman Lear, the producer Norman Lear,
interesting,
paid $8 million out of his own pocket to save the movie. He believed in it that much. And
wow.
Yeah. Would you do that?
On Rob Reiner in 86?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Fair enough. He had just directed 2 movies before that, so he didn't have a very long track record.
Right.
Speaking of Rob Reiner, he actually hated cigarette smoke, so he banned cigarettes on the set. Do you know what they smoked in the movie?
No, I don't, but I have known that he's been an anti-smoking person pretty much his entire public life. And I wouldn't venture to say clove, maybe?
Good question. I mean, good answer. But they actually smoked rolled up cabbage and lettuce leaves.
It's probably better for you.
It's organic.
What?
Like dried ones?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Dried rolled up cabbage and lettuce leaves. So that's interesting. So number 4, to get real tears during the train scene. You guys remember the train scene where it's bearing down on the boys?
Sure.
They didn't look scared enough. So what happened? How did they get that terrified look in their eyes?
Cigarette smoke. Onions?
Onions, no. Rob Reiner actually yelled at them until they cried.
Oh.
Wow.
Much.
screaming at them until they cried. And so he could
Gary
get the
O'Connell's face in that scene.
yeah
He's
From
crying.
being screamed at.
from being screamed at.
All right.
Yeah, and do you know how close the train actually got to them?
I wouldn't be able to guess.
It's a trick question. There actually was no train.
Composite.
Yep, there was no train in the actual filming of that when the boys were on the train tracks on the bridge. But
hang on. Sorry, I just picture Rob Reiner standing on that bridge screaming at two young men until they cried with no train.
yeah, which is why they wouldn't be able to cry, is because there was no train bearing down on them. But Rob Reiner substituted the train and screamed at them until they cried. So, yeah. And which actor went method during the shoot?
Wow. Is it of the Young Boys group or of the Cobras?
Do I have to answer that?
Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay, you're right. Kiefer Sutherland is the one who went method. And in fact, he went so method that he bullied the kids off screen until Jerry O'Connell actually cried.
Wow. What a good guy.
Yeah. I thought he was brilliant in the movie.
He is. I agree. He's imposing. He's obviously much bigger than them and everything like that. And he can play a prick really well. So,
right? This is a good one. Speaking of crying, Jerry O'Connell went to a Renaissance festival during the shoot and brought back brownies.
I know this one.
What was wrong with them?
They were pot brownies, and being the type of kid that he scarfed them and freaked out and ran off. Did he not?
That's right.
Yeah, ran off into the woods.
They found him in a park crying after eating a bunch of pot brownies that he was unaware of.
God
Yeah. And speaking of that, Pranks and Mischief is next. River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Will Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell threw hotel furniture into the pool that they were staying at their hotel. Who fixed the video game so they could play for free at the hotel?
Man. Is it somebody that we'd be familiar with?
Yeah, it's one of the boys.
It's one of the boys? Feldman.
No, it was actually Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Yeah. He actually rigged up the video game so that they could play for free. And River Phoenix said if he could do it, that he would actually take the blame for it if they got caught.
Well, he did grow up to be on the Star Trek Enterprise, so.
Will Wheaton did.
Yes,
yeah.
he did.
And another thing about River Phoenix, it didn't stop there. He also lost his virginity during the production. Do you know how old he was?
14?
15.
15. To who?
That is the bonus round question. So this is one that you'll probably know. The town Castle Rock was a fictional town set in Maine originally.
Right.
But actually shot the film in what town?
Brownsville, Oregon.
That's right. And what is the name of the company that Rob Reiner named his production company?
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock, based on this fictional town. That's right. Mm-hmm. And do you know what was... Speaking of the blueberry pie that we ate earlier in the Barfarama, do you know what was used in the blueberry Barfarama pie eating contest to get that look?
I feel like a couple of them where the kids just spit it out looks like blueberry pie filling, but where it's coming out like a cannon from the sides of their mouth, I wouldn't even be able to guess, but it's pretty fluid.
Yes, it's gnarly. Cottage cheese.
Oh God.
They mix cottage cheese and blueberries, blueberry pie filling, and actually launched it into people's faces.
And it's clearly the sun's out, and they're under a tent.
Right.
That probably reeked, man.
Right. So you'll probably know this one too. Which movie is based on? This movie is based on what novella?
The Body, by Stephen King. That it was a collection of short stories, and I guess I could probably anticipate the next question then. That the Shawshank Redemption was also in that collection.
In that collection.
Right? Yeah.
That's right. You may not know this. What gross scene in the movie actually happened to Stephen King?
Leeches.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually, when he was a kid, fell into water like that and got leeches all over him.
Wow.
So, real life story there. Do you know what Stephen King's reaction was when he saw the movie, when he watched it with Rob Reiner in a private screening?
His reaction, I mean, based upon, this was later on when his movies were coming out. I think we'd already seen Christine, Carrie, The Shining, and I know he didn't like The Shining or Christine really on its translation from paper to film, but I would guess that he applauded this.
He absolutely did. He
Right.
said it was the most true depiction of one of his books on the screen.
And that's what I've always said about the film, too, is that King, as far as how detailed his books are, don't always, as a matter of fact, rarely translate to film really well. And this is a shining example for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Whose voice narrates the movie?
Dreyfuss.
How long has Richard Dreyfuss and Rob Reiner known each other?
That I don't know.
Since they were 15 years old.
Really?
Yeah, do you know how they met?
High school?
Yep, they both went to Beverly Hills High School and bonded over comedy and acting.
So that's right before Rob Reiner was meathead on All in the Family then.
That's right.
Wow.
Much more before that.
Wow.
Do you know whose voice was originally cast as a narrator?
I wouldn't be able to guess.
David Dukes. If you're not familiar with him, he was an actor, and he was they liked him, but he wanted more money, and Rob Reiner wanted a voice that sounded as though the narrator was going through the emotions as he was speaking, as opposed to a more polished, reflective, and nostalgic reading.
Well, hindsight being 2020, I'm glad they went with Richard Dreyfuss.
That's true. And the second choice was, any guesses?
Would I know him?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Michael McKean.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. And he would have been on screen for the 6 or 8 minutes that Dreyfuss was as well.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, he would have been the narrator and been on screen. He would have had that part. But again, Reiner felt that it was his reading was a little too polished and reflective.
Oh.
So they went with Richard Dreyfuss. And of course, which movie did Rob Reiner and Michael McKean work on?
Was it after this?
Actually, I'm not sure when that movie came out. This is Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. Okay. Right on.
Yep. Let me ask you this. How often did River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connor see the dead body of Ray Brower?
I would guess that...
like in rehearsals? And
I would guess that the first time that it was on film was the first time that they saw it.
that's actually true. Yeah, even in rehearsals, they did not see, Rob Reiner kept this body from them so that when these kids saw the body for the first time, you actually see that on screen of their honest reactions.
Perfect. Probably while yelling at them.
That's right. So we have talked about Stephen King. This is an adaptation from his novella. Who came up with the name for the movie Stand By Me?
I would have to guess Reiner, but I think it was given the time period and that piece of music and everything like that, that it's a absolutely perfect pick for the name of the movie. But I would guess Reiner.
Yeah, you're right. Rob Reiner came up with the name of the movie, and they had considered the title "The Body," but they were talking about how they thought that the audience would think the movie is about sex, bodybuilding, or one of Stephen King's horror films. So that's why they didn't go with the name The Body. And this is interesting. What year was the movie set in?
59?
1959.
Yeah.
That's right. What year did the song Stand By Me come out?
62?
Very close. April 24th of 1961.
Okay. All right.
So we have a period piece set in 1959 and the song that came out in 1961.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't know if that many people know that. But let's see. Which actor cried uncontrollably after an emotional scene?
Well, by the line of questioning and answers that we've had so far, I'm going to have to go with little Jerry.
Actually, no. It was River Phoenix.
Wow.
Who did the scene at the campfire and told Gordy how worthless he felt. Phoenix couldn't actually cry convincingly, so Rob Reiner asked him to think of a time when somebody let him down, and River connected with that memory so much so that he couldn't stop crying until Rob Reiner had to console him.
Must have been pretty rough. It's a good shot.
Yeah, he did a great job in it, and was looked at as a very serious actor at that point forward. And then, of course, the bonus question is, what was the girl's name with whom River Phoenix lost his virginity?
Would we know?
Um,
Is she in other pop culture movies that just happen to be around the set? Or
well, we're going to leave that one. If you don't know the answer, we're going to leave that one open for the audience. They can actually put in comments below to see if they can guess what the answer is.
Can you tell me how old she was at the time?
No, I can't.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have no guess.
Okay. Danny doesn't have a guess either. So we were talking earlier about when we were eating and making this amazing food. We were talking about the genius of Rob Reiner.
Right.
That's something you were talking about. You want to expand on that?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, early on, and I mentioned earlier, All in the Family, the comedic timing of him on screen, and I believe that was all in front of a live studio audience, was absolutely great. I know South Park has run him down specifically for being an overweight, unhealthy person that rails against smoking, like we talked about earlier. Right. And but when you get into the seriousness of his the films that he's behind and everything like that, even Spinal Tap is brilliant. But it's hard to get around A Few Good Men. That's a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
It returns Kiefer Sutherland and Rob Reiner as well.
That's correct. Yeah, Kiefer and Rob Reiner together again.
But I've always just thought that he was more, and I think he knew that he was more than an actor, and that he belonged making films. And I think that he gave us some greats. And rest in peace, friend.
Absolutely. So, Brock, you actually grew up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, just south of it in Northern California.
And when we were watching the movie, we were looking at the scene where the train is bearing down on the boys on the bridge.
Right.
And you'd said that you actually have walked on that bridge before.
Correct. It's not a river. It's actually a lake that's called Lake Britain with an O, O-N finish. And it's outside of Bernie, California, and outside of the lake below being a great place to fish, and the area around being very plentiful with berries to pick, and we would hunt quail up and down those railroad tracks and stuff like that. You had to go there because it was in Stand By Me, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it was always really cool. A great place to grow up. And just to expand on that a little bit, I identify a lot with how this film unfolds, obviously not with a body or anything like that, but it was very common where I grew up to go out with friends and hunt and fish and camp out in the woods. There's vast, untouched land up there that a lot of people that grow up where private property is can't even fathom that it's there and it's for everybody. You can go wherever you want. Wherever you can walk to, wherever you can drive to, it's available for you. You know, it's really cool. And they obviously know this, and they get out on their own and everything like that. And it's always been a piece that has always felt near and dear, not only to reality, but to nostalgia for me. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, now, when you went on the bridge, was that before or after the movie?
Well, after the movie, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Brock was not born, but 3 years before the movie came out. So
3 years after the movie came out.
3 years after the movie came out. I sometimes forget how old he is. Yeah, well after the movie came out. When we were talking earlier while we were watching the movie, you said that when the boys are in the junkyard,
Right.
you remember when the narrator was talking?
Sure.
Do you want to expand on what you were thinking about that and how it affected you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of young men's last summer of innocence, quote unquote, movies, and a lot of coming of age movies involving young men. But when they're spitting in that coffee can and throwing rocks into it, and they're not talking, they're just giggling, the narrator's going over the top of it, Dreyfuss, of course. He mentions that everything was perfect, not because they were in territory where they shouldn't be, like trespassing in the junkyard or lying to their parents about sneaking off and being away, but they knew at that moment, all of them collectively, without talking about it, exactly who they were and exactly where they were going. And it displays a level of confidence in these characters, and I just think that's a really special line.
Yeah, I think you're right. It really pinpoints where they are, where they're going, why they're friends, where they're at.
I've never been a girl before, so I don't know if they have the same thing. But I think every guy can think back to a period in their lives when they go, yeah, I felt that, and it was at this exact moment. It's a special time, you know.
Yeah,
we
Very
have
cool.
that too.
Yeah. What movie can you think of, Danny, that has that?
I can't think of a movie, but we definitely have that experience.
Oh, you have that experience.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
I can think of Heathers comes to mind as far as a movie goes, where it's focused on, but they're in high school, so they're just a little bit older.
Right.
But
We know that girls grow up a little faster, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
They mature quicker than us boys.
I'm still working on it.
Same here. I'm marinating. You were talking earlier when we were watching the film too about when Will Wheaton's character was in the store,
Right.
and you want to expound on that?
Yeah. So the movie is shot in Brownsville, Oregon, which is outside of Eugene, and there is another little city, and I believe it's called Junction City, where the store where he goes to get the provisions. My dad, early on in his career at Coca-Cola, was a service tech, and when they would go regionally on strike, they would send these people everywhere. Basically, service tech means he worked on vending machines when they broke down for service calls, and he had to work on that vending machine a couple times, and they called Coca-Cola to move the machine because they had to reset the store so that they could get a camera in there and film everything properly. And so the store always looks pretty much like that. It's just everything was moved around. But yeah, I've been in there too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the sort of general store where Will Wheaton's character goes in to get the food
Right after the junkyard.
right after the junkyard when they're pulling their money together.
Right.
And he goes in there to get the food for the boys. And of course, Jerry O'Connell only comes up with how much money?
4 cents?
7 cents.
7 cents.
Yeah.
He hasn't found his pennies yet.
He has not found his pennies yet. 9 months of digging. You don't know whether to laugh or cry. So, Danny, what did you think of the movie?
I love it.
What about it do you like?
Nostalgic, reminds me of summers and growing up with friends that I'm no longer friends with, but at the time we felt like those kids.
Yeah. Did you have like summer outings with them did you ever go camping or
Oh, yeah. We
What
would
was that
go
like?
Camping. I went to a Montessori school, so really small school. I think total was like 80 kids, and we would all go camping as like the school, the ones that could attend. We'd go to Canyon Lake and go camping for probably like a long weekend. So me and all of my best friends that I was in school with would go every year and camp together.
Oh wow, so that was like a big group who would go camping.
Yeah, but we'd like with cliques, we'd stay with like our friends kind of thing. But all day we were just out in the nature, riding our bikes by the lake, doing stuff until it was too dark.
Special time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually lived on a farm for a while, and it was 200 acres, and the driveway was about a half a mile long. And myself and my younger cousin ran all over those hills where bear and coyotes and mountain lions and all kinds of predators roamed. But we would head out in the morning and come home at dark, and nobody knew where we were, and we could have been dead at any minute, really. That was the growing up there. That, you know, when these kids in Stand By Me go out into the wilderness, they are packing a gun,
Right.
a 45. But
I can see that.
What's that?
I can see that. When he pulls it out, that's what he says.
Oh,
It's a 45.
it's a 40 that. I can see that. Yes, that's right. But yeah, we didn't have a pistol. We were younger than these guys in Stand By Me, actually. But it was an amazing experience being out there in nature, and like you talked about earlier, Brock, where you feel small, but you feel connected and a part of things. It's something that's much bigger than you.
Right. That's 100% true. And I can't overstate that too. That with that amount of wilderness and freedom and everything like that. People that didn't grow up with it can't fathom it, or would think that that's crazy. There's so much land in all of Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, and it's for everybody. I would encourage anybody that even thinks that looks cool to go visit it, and you can hike and camp wherever you want. It's very cool.
And you were talking about earlier when we were making the trout that you would go camping and you would have a campfire and then you would fish for trout. And
Right.
How did you do that?
A lot of our camping trips and stuff like that, Stand By Me is pretty primitive with the gear that they were packing and everything like that. But, we'd have an ice chest and stuff like that to preserve food. And a lot of the rivers are cold enough to even store fish in on a stringer, as long as you can keep them away from the otters. Otherwise, when you pull it up, it's just a bunch of heads on the stringer. They eat it right up to the head, man. But we'd always take like a 4.5 foot collapsible fishing pole in the backpack, and one or two of us would have a single shot 410 shotgun, and we would walk these railroad tracks just like they did as kids here, and they were generally paralleled by big blackberry thickets, and we would hunt quail, and you could get a couple of quail and stuff like that. And if a train came by and there wasn't fish biting in the hole that you were at, we got to where we knew the train schedules and stuff like that, and they only moved about 7 or 8 miles an hour, so it was pretty easy to Mom, I hope you're not listening to this. Pretty easy to just jump on one of them and go to the next hole and everything like that. And we would put these short fishing rods together, and most of the creeks that you would come across that were outside of the main rivers and everything like that were all snow runoff and pretty fast moving. And you could just drop a bait in, and you grab the string in front of your bail with a finger, and then you would feel a fish on it. And they were usually only about 10 inches long, and we considered those like perfect cookers. And people, somebody up on the off the bank would have a fire going, and we would have a couple pieces of aluminum foil, a couple of lemons, and some salt and pepper, and throw them in these little foil packs, and they cook in about 4 minutes, and then just eat them with a fork and just keep moving. It was great.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Danny?
Sounds picturesque.
Picturesque. Absolutely.
We knew exactly who we were and exactly where we were going.
That's outstanding. Any other stories that you want to bring up?
Regarding the movie, Brownsville, Oregon, still looks very much the same. And I also think that it's really cool that a lot of stories that King wrote are in Maine, and even this story's in Maine, that Reiner took it to Oregon for some reason. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that is. I'm glad he did. But I just can't help but see a lot of my childhood. Obviously, I wasn't. I was still getting good grades and stuff like that. I wasn't one of these kids, but I can still connect with it a lot. You know,
with them at that age.
At that age, and doing what they're doing and talking about what they're talking about, how they pick on each other.
Whether or not Goofy's a dog or not.
Yeah. What the hell is he? He drives a car and wears a hat. I'm sure that we're going to get into the actual technical parts of the movie a little bit that we can go back and forth about. But Brownsville also still has I believe every July they have Stand By Me days, and I think that some of the actors have showed up a couple of times, and it's like a little festival there, and that's a pretty cool deal too, because it still looks very much the same. It's kind of a time capsule, and it was a time cap. That's probably why Rob Reiner picked it. It looked like it fit in the 50s in '86,
Yeah,
So
and it still does.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. Speaking of any kind of technical aspects of the film, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about as far as that goes?
You go first.
Well, I asked the questions.
Okay.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's talk about this. The first thing that we see in the movie is a newspaper headline, and it obviously means something to this man in this SUV that's reading the headline. And I think at that point we realize where we're going. But within about 10 minutes of this movie, we know who every character is, what their personality is, and how everything works between them. And the chemistry between the cast is second to none as far as movies with young adolescents in it, to me.
Yeah, do you know how Rob Reiner helped get that chemistry going?
Tell me.
So before
Yelled at him?
So before filming, he actually had them playing theater games where they would blindfold one another, and somebody would give them directions on how to walk down a hallway while they were blindfolded. So there was building trust and camaraderie.
Wow.
And things like that. So he did that before shooting. So by the time shooting began, they were already kind of friends and kind of known each other and built some trust between each other.
He was just destined to be a director, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Wow. I mean, he's his work is really fantastic, and he has got a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, he grew up in the business.
You're right. Old Carl.
Oh yeah.
But and then as far as touching on the rest of the film, the soundtrack is what you would think it would be as far as really big pop hits and everything like that of the times. But technically speaking, the shots are really good, even in their simplicity. There was one that we touched on when they start singing the song about Paladin, the Have Gun Will Travel. When they're walking down that railroad track, that is such a far out shot, and they're only about 3 centimeters tall on this screen, and it just makes the wilderness look massive. And that's the first shot where we gather that they're on their own, they're out of the city, and it shows that they are isolated. They're very small beings in this huge world of wilderness, and they're still happy. They're singing about it, and they're singing a heroic song about it, like a conqueror. It's very cool.
Yeah. Do you think that it has something to touch on as far as their innocence goes? Innocence in the wild?
Absolutely. There's a connection there, everything around them as far as the trees and those rivers and everything like that are a lot older than any authority figure that they've ever been exposed to. And but they treat the land gracefully, and the land treats them gracefully, I think.
Yeah, which is how it should be.
And that's just my hippie take on it from being from there. So
I'm not sure it's hippie. I think that's just sensible and common sense.
Yeah, it should be a little more widespread, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Much more of a widespread view. Danny, what stood out to you in the film?
Let me think on that for a second.
Sure. Putting Danny on the spot. Out
On
of
the spot.
blue.
She looked like she just overcooked the steelhead.
What stood out?
You like the film, so
I do like the film. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it a handful of times.
what
over the
parts of
years.
it do you like that come to mind about the film that you like, or what themes of it do you like?
Or humor. You always like to pick out the humor in it.
That's true.
That's true.
Sorry, it's hard for me to think specifically without watching it at the same time.
Well, we know you like Vern.
I love-
Everything that he says.
Yeah, what stood out to me is Vern. Verno.
This is Danny on the spot, by the way, everybody.
I don't know. I can't pinpoint anything right now. I just enjoy the movie as a whole, and if it's ever on TV or something, I will watch it from any point that it's at.
Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah.
movies.
That's the same with me, too. I think we actually watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
So,
Just happenstance.
yeah, and 3 days before that, I was on a trip with my daughter, and my sister wanted to watch it, so we watched it, too. So
Oh,
I've seen
wow.
this movie 3 times in like 20 days. And it still doesn't get old to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Anything else we want to talk about?
I think so. Let's talk about character arc
Okay.
in it. We were bouncing some ideas across that I believe that Gordy is, in general, from a better household or a better family than the rest of these kids. And I think that's probably why his dad talks down to him about his friends
Yeah.
and everything like that. And outside of the entire aspect of the tragedy that has taken place in that household, that is obviously weighing heavily on the remaining 3 after the very young John Cusack's Jeep accident, that I think that River Phoenix's little tongue lashing that he gives them when they're alone on the railroad tracks is the grasp of Gordy's character arc, where he realizes that these people will eventually probably drag him down compared to his capabilities and his potential and everything like that. It's a lot of self-realization between both of them in that moment. And then it pans up to the other 2, and they're having a conversation of who would win in a fight, Mighty Mouse or Superman. So that kind of goes to show you that the realization was happening in the back conversation. And in the end, Vern is still Vern, and I think you mentioned he's just a clueless kid, probably the smaller one of all of them. He's weaker than all of them.
You know how old he was in that movie?
12?
11.
11?
11 years old.
11 years old, and he scarfed a plate of pot brownies.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And yeah, Vern was still Vern, and I think it was interesting that at the end of the movie, where the narrator says that he is a forklift driver.
Right.
He got married right out of high school, had 4 kids.
Right.
Is a forklift driver, which there's nothing wrong with any of that.
Right.
But where Chris Chambers had a development in his character.
Yep.
Who actually did take the college courses in high school
And why did he do that?
because of Gordy.
Because of Gordy. Right. Yeah.
And he was saying that don't let your friends drag you down.
Mm-hmm.
The Thief and Phoebes.
The thief and Phoebes, that's right. And to take those college classes, and you're going to meet new people, new guys to be friends with.
Smart guys.
Smart guys.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want to be with them. I want to hang with my friends.
Right.
And so I thought it was really great that Chris Chambers, coming from this, this home that society in this town who knows everybody knows everybody, and he has a real bad rap.
Right.
And nobody expects anything of him except to do bad.
Right.
That he actually takes these college courses, goes to college, becomes an attorney, and then, of course, has a terrible, tragic death. But his arc, he grows in this, and I think that Teddy Duchamp's his character actually, I think, grows in the moment when they're all at the end of the movie, when they're all leaving each other, saying, "And I'll see you in high school." You know, we're leaving I'll see you in junior high.
Right.
We're leaving grade school. That he is walking away, and then he turns around to Chris Chambers and says, "Hey, no hard feelings, right?"
No hard feelings, right? Yeah.
And I think that moment is where he grew to show realization of himself, sensitivity, the bond that they have, and out of his own sort of, I don't want to call it psychotic, but the world that he lives in with under his dad's shadow,
Right.
and trying to defend his dad as much as possible,
Right.
and sort of living in that anger, he becomes sensitive and grows up a bit and says, "Hey, no hard feelings."
I think he realizes how important Chris Chambers is to everybody in that movie. For sure, too. And, you know, it's even been a thought. We're reading pretty deep into what they allude to and stuff like that. That maybe Chris, he knows that that's a dead end place for him to be. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that can probably identify with that are from small towns. They just want out, just to get away and everything like that. And that's very difficult to do when you come from a difficult place like that, meaning his household, from what it seems like. But maybe Chris enrolled in those courses to watch out over Gordy, to be with him the whole time.
That has a big part of it, because he says if your father doesn't care about you, he doesn't know you.
Maybe I should.
But if he's not going to do it, then maybe I should step in, and I
Right.
should be the one to look out for you.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Danny, you're going to say something?
Oh, yes. I feel like Teddy also developed after Gordy is sitting down by the river after they see the body, and Corey comes up to him and asks him, like, what's going on, and can tell something's up with him. When he tells Teddy and Vern to go get some branches, Teddy can tell something's going on and doesn't question it.
Right.
Like, he's sensitive about it.
He actually just goes, you guys go do that. And he goes, yep.
Yep.
Right.
No problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
So I
just
think
goes ahead and does
was
it.
mature or there than he has been in other situations.
Yeah, there's no resistance, and no even there wasn't even a vibrato in it.
Right. For sure. That's true. And
Yeah, good point.
respected Chris as the mature, fair, and leadership role of their group.
Yeah, and I think he also was sensitive to the situation, and seeing a dead body that is a person who's his age,
Right.
and sensitive. He became, I think, sensitive to that stark, tragedy that they're faced with, literally face to face with.
Let's tie it back, because linearly, the day before, he tried to dodge a train, and that could have been him too.
That's right.
And that segues into, I don't think we've talked about the train. The reason for this entire journey was a kid being killed by a train. Teddy almost had a death wish with a train, and Vern and Gordy almost got killed by a train or whatever. Chris is kind of the only one that was always trying to keep them from the train.
Right.
In some way, shape, or form.
That's right.
Which is kind of cool.
So what do you think the train is a metaphor for?
I don't know. That's just my own little take.
The bearing down of adulthood?
That's a good one. Maybe each of their own struggles and either giving up or staying away from it, succumbing to it, if you will. I don't know, but it's a damn scary train.
Yes, and trains do hurt.
Yeah, no kidding. Knocked him right out of his keds.
That's right. Yeah, poor Ray Brower.
What about the Cobras? What do we make of the Cobras? I brought up earlier that Stephen King, and I'm by no means an expert on his books or anything like that, but from what I can see, he likes like greaser type villains that are against always like a loser group in some way, shape, or form when it is that type of conflict. What do you think he draws that inspiration from, being that when he was writing his first books in the mid-70s, that he was in his early 20s, what exposure would he have had to 50s greasers and hoods?
Well, so I'm not sure that he would have had direct experience with greasers that we would think of in quotes from the 50s, but I think that he would definitely have exposure to hoods who weren't necessarily wearing jeans with the cuffs 6 inches up and
Right.
greasing their hair back and looking like John Travolta in Grease.
Just some tough street kids.
Tough street kids who were bullies.
Right.
And I think that it would be, now that I don't know, I'm speculating that maybe Stephen King was somebody who is a lot more intellectual and sensitive,
I think he was bullied.
and he was bullied
Right.
by these types of characters. And so that becomes, who he writes about as far as who the antagonist bullies are. And I was saying that in the movie that I didn't think that the Cobras were greasers. I thought that they're hoods.
Right. Right.
And then, of course, it comes up at the end of the film where Gordy has the .45 pointed at Ace, and as Ace and his gang are trying to take the body, and he even says that he's a dime store hood,
Right.
which a
cheap one at that.
cheap dime store hood. Yeah, so I think that they're just hoods. They're a bit of an organized ragtag group of hoods, organized in the way that they all hang together.
Just out there terrorizing.
Yeah, and that they're and they have a leader.
Right. And he's obviously the oldest. It's kind of interesting, too. We get plenty of glimpses into, is it Billy and Charlie, the ones that originally found the body, that didn't want to talk about it because they had stolen a Dodge?
They boosted a Dodge. That's right.
And they didn't have an excuse for being out there besides stealing a car.
Right.
So they're
Being
kind
out there, being out there, meaning that they didn't have an excuse to be out there where the body was found. That was
Right.
miles and miles and miles from where they lived.
only because they had a car. They were driving a stolen car that they didn't have.
Correct.
Yeah. They're very weak. Like, as far as back and forth, they clearly both buckle under pressure and can't keep a secret. And so we kind of understand who these people are. And they're arguing about it the whole movie, about whether to tell Ace,
Right.
and everything like that.
Or the authorities.
Or the authorities, very much so. And Eyeball, we get a glimpse into his existence because he's Chris's older brother and they grew up in the same house.
Right.
Right? We don't know shit about Ace
No.
other than he's willing to kill him and his friends just to say, I won in a game of chicken.
True.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Right.
And the way he says it is chilling. Because he's so nonchalant about it,
It's dead.
but it's so deadpan.
Yeah.
And the way he says it is so chilling. We don't know his backstory. We don't know what kind of family he comes from. We don't know any of that. But what we do know is through his actions and through his dialogue.
Right.
And one of the things that stand out in his character, I think, is when they were talking about, they were all hanging around. They're getting the cobras. I don't want to call it a tattoo. They were using a razor blade to cut into the arm.
Scars.
Like a scarification to spell cobras. And Ace is polishing a car part, and a couple of the guys are talking about if they would bet $1,000. And Ace says very coldly, "If either one of you had if you had $2,000, I'd kill both of you.
I'd kill you both." Yeah.
And that line that he delivers, he's not saying it in a joking way.
Right.
He's saying it in a chilling kind of real deadpan way, the same kind of way that he says that he won when he was playing chicken.
Very true.
There's a cold-blooded streak that runs through that character, I think.
And they're afraid of him.
Rightly so.
They are. And not even just the younger group. The rest of the Cobras are afraid of him, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And that's kind of an interesting touch, too, is that they're both groups of different age groups and stuff like that. But the young kids are on the same path at that point to become the Cobras in 10 years.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think the difference is that they don't have Ace as a leader. They have Chris Chambers as a leader. Somebody who has more empathy and calculation and just finger on the pulse of everybody else. Ace is a cold-blooded motherfucker, you know. But I think that Chris and Ace are kind of equal opposites as far as group leaders.
Yeah, as far as leadership goes.
Right.
Chris is an inclusive.
Yeah.
He's leading the group, but a lot of times ideas come from other characters.
True. But he's willing. He's not. He doesn't. He doesn't dictate the group. He takes other ideas from the characters, and they vote on several things and everything like that.
Speaking of one of the votes, is when they were deciding whether to continue to follow the railroad tracks or whether they decide to go through into the woods to save time. Mm-hmm. And each one is, of course, Vern. Vern, Danny's favorite, wanted to stick to the tracks. And the rest of the guys were ready to go into the woods. And they did. But Chris was the one asking, what do you think? What do you think? And then when Gordy says, yeah, that's when they all, start going. Except for Vern, of course.
With one word, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So...
And I think that showed Gordy's determination to want to see this body too.
Yeah, the narrator actually says that it becomes an obsession with him, and that he doesn't really know why. We're
led to believe that maybe it would bring some type of closure to his personal issues with the loss of his brother, I think. Is my thing. Yeah.
I think so.
I think so, for sure.
I think he's very curious about death because he's experienced it.
He's experienced it, and it's been a whirlwind in his life very recently, too.
4 months. It had only been 4 months.
That's wild, right?
Yeah. So an obsession to go see this dead body 4 months after his own brother was killed. You feel like this was a sense of closure, or at least if not closure, then a sense of coming to terms with it.
Coming to terms, fulfilling a curiosity of something that not most humans don't know a lot about,
True.
Death.
Fortunately.
Yeah, very true. And
lucky for them.
He experienced it very young. His parents are clearly completely different people after it happened. They're distraught,
Well, I don't know about there being completely different. Even when Denny was alive and at the dinner table.
Well, the dad's a dick, and I think that he's painted to be like a traditional '50s dad or whatever. But even when the first time that we see them, they're just like, is he like sweeping dirt?
No, he's hoeing.
He's hoeing for nothing, and it's under a fucking laundry. You're not growing a garden under the laundry drying line or whatever.
The clothesline.
Sorry.
You got it.
From the 80s, not the 50s.
Right.
Clotheslines to me only come in professional wrestling. But they're doing nothing. And
Right.
they're clearly like wide-eyed and just staring at the ground, just going through motions, which is different than the flashback of the dinner table scene where he's passionate about whether it's positive or negative passion. He's passionate at the table about his son doing well at that football game.
Right.
And everything like that.
To the detriment of the rest of the family.
Right. I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's a dick. But.
No, yeah. I mean, his character, I think, it doesn't have much of a departure
Right.
from while Denny was alive to when Denny was not alive.
True.
That he was so focused on his oldest son to the detriment of others that after his passing,
Yep.
he was sort of a zombie stuck in that.
Very true. A zombie's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Just like going through the motions and zoned out.
Zoned out.
Yeah. Which 4 months after, it's still really fresh for everybody in that family too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's wild.
And I mean, it's really apparent when Gordy asks his mom where the canteen is so that he can go on this camping trip.
She doesn't even acknowledge that he
doesn't
asked
answer him.
the question.
Yeah, she
doesn't
doesn't
even
acknowledge.
turn to look or anything.
She doesn't even acknowledge him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it isn't until he asks a couple of times until his dad says it's in Denny's room.
Right.
So we feel the weight of that.
Right.
That she can't even talk about it.
Yep.
And when he says it, when the dad says it, he says it in a way that is like, you feel the weight of the loss when he says that. And then, of course, you see Gordy go, oh, and you feel the weight of his realization that it's in his brother's room.
He's going to have to go in there.
He's going to have to go in there.
And I feel like that we're awakened from that flashback by the dad just going, you found it.
Yes.
Or whatever. I think that he went up there because even he hadn't opened the door to that room and just wanted to see inside of it too, a little bit.
You think that the father wanted to see the inside of the room?
Just to be close to it, I
Really?
think. Yeah.
I don't think so.
don't think so?
No, I think that.
Well, fuck me, right?
I don't think so either.
Okay, Danny doesn't think so either. Why?
I think he went up there to make sure he wasn't disturbing anything in the room. I
Right.
took it as a protective
That's a good way to put it too.
way.
Yeah, I think that he had sealed off that room the way he sealed off his emotions. And
Yeah.
that he wanted to just make sure, because all he says to Gordy is, you got it.
And he knew where it was.
And
which
he
means
knew where it
he knew
was.
everything about
He
the
knew
room.
he knew everything that was in that room.
Right.
And it was basically sealed off. Not that it's shown in the movie and not that it's talked about in the movie, but just by the action of the way that the father goes to the room and says, you got it. And of course, Gordy is still sort of mesmerized by the canteen because he's in his brother's room. And then, of course, finally answers his dad, yeah.
Right.
But then his dad is just like, reaches over, grabs the door, and shuts the door in a way that it looks to me like he is shutting out the pain and trying to contain it within himself in this character.
Yeah. I had thought along those lines about that. The door shutting is why I had thought that he hadn't been in there and that it was too painful to see for maybe the first time in 4 months. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's the room is definitely a touchy subject in the movie, even though we're only talking about it for maybe 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It's very quick, but it definitely disrupts things.
Yeah, in the movie, it's not shown that long at all, but it definitely has a gravitas to it.
Right.
Sorry, just going back to Denny's room and his stuff, the memory of him giving the hat. I wish that they would have tied back to that at the end when he has the gun on him and would have gotten his hat back, because to me, that's tragic to lose the hat your brother gave you.
I've thought about that too. Suck my fat one, you cheap dime store hood, and give me my fucking brother's Yankee cap back.
Yeah.
I know that sounds kind of funny, but in seriousness though, you can tell that he even leaves his body when he's watching Ace and Eyeball Chambers walk away with that hat. Chris Chambers turns around like, come on, let's forget it. And Gordy's still just staring down at them like, this isn't over.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It would have been really cool if he would have brought it up at the body scene. For sure.
Yeah, at the end when he had the gun on Ace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he's serious in that moment too that we talked about. Because when he says, what are you going to do, shoot us all? And he goes, no, Ace, just you. And he doesn't even blink. Like, he doesn't care if the rest of them kill him, but he's going to get him, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Which is the only way they get out of it.
He hates him.
Oh, yeah.
And if not for any reason that we hadn't seen in the previous life of these characters, definitely for that Yankee cap scene.
Yeah.
For sure.
And go ahead. Oh, and it was interesting, too. I thought that because Gordy is so sensitive,
right.
He's a writer, and he's sensitive, and he's intellectual, and he's smart, and he's timid and insecure.
Right.
Even asks Chris if he's weird.
Yeah.
At one point.
Which shows how much he trusts Chris, too.
Shows how much he trusts him. He's his best friend.
Right.
And but to take that and then to juxtapose it with the holding a gun on another human being.
Right.
And pulling the hammer back and saying, no, just you, Ace.
Right.
Really has him grow up.
Really quick.
Really quick. And become somebody who he is not. He has a ton of confidence, right? Which he had not had throughout the entire flick.
For sure. I hadn't even really thought about that before, because up to that point, if it didn't come to Chris's throat getting cut or about to get cut, you would think that he would be the one to save that situation.
Exactly.
You're kind of thrown off by it being when the gun comes down that it's Gordy holding it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's a really powerful point, not just because he's holding a gun, but because he has stepped up in this adult role of now becoming the protector of the group.
Or at least an equal contributor to that, for sure.
Yeah.
Because before that, like you said, very timid and insecure, for sure.
Yeah.
Unstable as far as emotions go. They've been through a lot.
You think that Gordy's emotionally unstable?
Well, I mean, I guess I did say that, but when you say it that way, it sounds different. I think that that Gordy doesn't quite recognize how he feels or his emotions yet. I think that Chris is the most secure in their emotions in the movie, even though he's the only one that cries, right? Or Teddy cries, but
well, they all cry, actually.
Well, Vern cries every scene.
Chris cries in the campfire scene.
Yep.
Where he broke down. We talked about earlier in the trivia questions that Rob Reiner had to console him.
Teddy cries after the argument with Milo,
the junkyard owner. And
my dad hates me. Gordy cries. You're right. My dad
right.
hates me. My dad hates me.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're right.
And Chris is like, no, your dad just doesn't know you.
And they all reacted to each other crying the same way as each situation to like help the other one.
Yeah, they're there for each other.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Earlier when you said, Brock, that you didn't think that Gordy knew what he wanted, I don't agree with that fully. I feel like he knew what he wanted, and it was to protect the body, not his friends group. That's what he drew the line
Yeah,
there for
and
some
that's
reason. He
he's
said
the one.
nobody's taking the body. Not
He's
our
the
group
one.
gets it.
He's the one to cover it too.
Yes,
with a blanket.
So I think
Yeah.
he was very passionate about preserving.
And protecting that
Yeah.
that kid.
Well, he makes it clear that they talk Vern into going on this trip in the beginning by saying we're going to be heroes if we find this kid, and I think Gordy realizes that that's not a heroic thing to take credit for,
Right.
as far as like in a pompous manner.
Yeah, he actually even says at one point during the movie, he says that they're going to see this body. He says, I'm not sure that this should be a party.
It's not a party. And they misconstrue it. Are you saying you want to go back? No, I'm just saying I don't think the body of a dead kid should be something that we should, celebrate. So,
Yeah. And Danny, that was a good point about Gordy protecting Ray Brower. By, like, subsequently, he's also protecting his friends group,
Yes, but I feel like the priority was the body.
the body.
Because he wasn't like, no, we're going to take him. He's saying no one is. He's made a group choice for everyone.
right.
Yeah. And I think that's a really astute observation because he
What's so funny?
Danny made a
After he said an astute observation.
Oh,
She-
of course.
she made a funny face and
Danny's hamming it up on the mic.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get cameras next time. But yeah, great observation. I think you're right that it came down to him protecting and preserving that kid who was laying there who had been hit by the train. And and saved Chris's life, really, because do we think that Ace really would have cut Chris's throat?
I've
think
talked
so.
about this with her, and I agree 100%. He was going to cut that kid's throat, and I think Eyeball knew it too. But he was too afraid of Ace.
To step
he
in.
goes, Ace, wait, come on, man.
Right.
Or whatever. And he goes and puts that knife up, and he was going to go ear to ear on him, I think. He puts it up next to his ear under his throat.
Under his throat, right?
Yeah. And if Eyeball knew that was coming, I legitimately think that he was going to kill him right in front of everybody,
Wow.
which is crazy.
That is crazy. But it also goes to show, if that's the case, how cold-blooded Ace really is.
100%.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you think that he could have possibly said that to him because that was his brother, not because he thought he was going to kill him? Like, hey, man, come on. That's my brother. It's not some random kid.
Earlier in the movie, he was content with him putting a cigarette out
That's
in his
true.
eyeball,
You're
and he was
right.
giggling about it. And I believe Ace was going to do that too.
You're right.
Yes, I think he would have done that, and I think Chris knew he was going to do that, so he actually took it back when they're on the sidewalk.
And he was
out in
almost
front of the
crying.
drugstore.
He
Almost
was terrified.
crying. Yeah.
Terrified.
Which I don't think that all of that was acting, because Kiefer Sutherland scared these guys so much. He bullied them off screen, to the point where, interesting, that River Phoenix covered Kiefer Sutherland's car in mud during the production.
Just out of anger.
He actually didn't know it was his car.
Oh, shit.
But it turned out that it was his car, so there's some just desserts there.
That's really cool. I generally believe that, like you said, there's a deeper than acting fear of this guy in the movie. The method acting was probably pretty far off the behind the camera and everything like that. He's intense, man.
Yes.
That is an intense character for. Obviously, we could talk about other. He's no Pennywise, or whatever. But to these kids in this world or whatever, that dude's evil. He's terrible.
Yeah.
So, and I think Eyeball believed that he was going to see his brother get gutted right there in front of him.
Yeah. But what's really interesting, I think, about how they depicted that character, and this goes to Rob Reiner's credit, is that he wasn't just evil. He was somebody who was logical, and he actually gave them a chance a lot of times. Like at the end of the movie when the Cobras, Ace's gang found the body too, and Ace said, "Listen, you can leave and we'll take the body, or you can stay and we'll beat the shit out of you and we take the body."
Right.
Which is it? Like make a choice.
Right.
So if he were inherently evil, I don't think he would be asking those types of questions or stating or giving them an out like that. So I think that it's important that we see Ace as a logical and sort of has a human side to him, that he does, offer them a choice, a way out. And he also, when we were talking earlier about...
Yeah, but the way out is for him to get his way.
True.
Right.
True. So he's definitely not the guy you want to root for.
Right.
But I just want to make the point that I don't think that he's just truly straight across the board evil.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because also you mentioned earlier where he threw Chris Chambers down to the ground on the sidewalk out in front of the drugstore, and he was going to put this cigarette in his face.
Right.
And he said, "I'm going to give you the opportunity to take it back." Before he threw him down, he said, "I'm going to give you the opportunity to take it back." And then Chris didn't, and then he threw him down to the ground and put the cigarette to his face. So
Understood.
all I'm saying is that I think that, he's not an evil guy straight across the board, that he gives somebody a chance, and when they don't do what he threatens them to do, then he takes the next step.
Sounds pretty evil.
Right.
Giving them a chance to do something against their own will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No, but he's a great villain in the movie.
Cold.
Very cold. That's a great way to put it.
Calculated.
And he's probably, as far as all of the characters we touched on this too, they're all dressed perfectly too. Everything that they wear and everything like that.
You mean the entire cast?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah. But Ace specifically, you can tell he's the ringleader of that gang. His clothes are always pretty damn sharp looking too.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that he wore that black T-shirt.
Right.
And then that floral pattern
Right.
Button down over top of it.
Right.
Where in the scene where at the end of the movie where they go and find the body.
Right.
And confront the younger kids, he's wearing this floral long button down shirt that's opened. He doesn't have it buttoned up, but it is a really interesting choice of wardrobe because it makes him look softer.
I thought he wore that thinking he was going to be on the news. So like, oh, let me have my best dressed.
I thought he looked hot. No, but in all seriousness, though, it's a pretty sharp shirt. It's an interesting choice.
Interesting choice for somebody who's wearing a black T-shirt and the ringleader of a hood gang wearing a soft, muted, pastel almost looking shirt.
Right.
That just goes against, even if he was going to wear his, he's going to get dressed up in a way. The choice of this kind of color choice, to me, makes his character really look a lot more, I don't want to say submissive, but a lot more timid.
Not as tough.
Softer.
Not as tough.
That's the right
Yeah.
word, softer.
Fair enough. The news theory is a good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
I had neither.
But he he clearly he has really nice shoes on in that scene too. The rest of them have those like pull-on biker boots with the strap across the ankle with the buckle on the side.
Yeah.
And he's got
Shiny shoes.
are they wingtips?
I don't know, but who wears those to go fishing? Now that I think about it, for their story.
Yeah, check.
How-
Yeah, man, I've never pulled a
a good
steelhead out of the river in a pair of wingtips for sure.
That's true. Neither have I. They are definitely black, shiny dress shoes.
Right.
I don't know if they're black penny loafers, whatever they are, but
They're not fishing shoes.
They're not fishing shoes.
Yeah, he looks
He is-
pretty dressed up.
He is wearing white socks, though. If you notice when he's climbing back up towards the railroad tracks at the very end of the movie after Gordy puts the gun on him.
Cuffed pants and white socks.
Yeah. He puts the switchblade away. I love the way that he actually climbs up that little embankment to get to the railroad track. The way he takes his time and puts his weight into each step.
I think it's
that
kind
he
of
climbs back up there.
It's defeat.
There is a defeatism to it, but
Yeah.
there's also
Crawling.
I'm sorry?
Like a symbolism of crawling. He's
Like
slowly
crawling?
working his way back up there because he was defeated
Humiliated, I
by
think.
a tiny
Exactly.
child.
Well, humiliation is defeat to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's his game, is humiliating others,
Yeah.
I think. But I get that, though. Yeah, and then he's back on top, and he looks at him again,
Right.
too.
And his thing was that I'm not going to let this go.
Yeah.
Better believe that I'm not going to forget about this, etc. So when he's making that way up to the train tracks, I feel like he's humiliated and he's set back. But then there's also like this, I'm going to get back at them kind of
Sure.
forcefulness in the way he's walking.
And metaphorically, then he's up there.
Right, and the composition is that he's up there and they are down there, but they win and he loses. But he's at top and they're at bottom.
Right.
So it's interesting that the bully actually is belittled, but still is composition-wise still at the top.
It's going to happen every time you bring a knife to a gunfight.
Oh my. Oh my. That's a different movie.
Did he not, though?
He did. He brought a knife to a gunfight.
You're talking about the Untouchables line.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then touching on wardrobe too, I said not too deep into it. Keds is a nice touch for the 50s.
Yes.
And Teddy. All the rest of the kids, you can kind of see their household background in their clothing. Teddy is always in military issued gear because that's his dad, which he defends almost, he would to the death, it seems like. And he is wearing a Army issued canteen with a cartridge belt, Army issued jungle boots, it looks like, and a green skivvy shirt for the entire movie. And I think that that connection to his dad runs pretty deep in him, to where they even mention at the end that he tried to join the Army but couldn't get in because of his eyes and his ear or whatever, that he was ready to go do that too, you know?
Yes.
So, and then Vern is tucked in polo shirt with the comb.
With the comb. Yes.
But yeah, no, the wardrobe's pretty cool in it for the time and everything like that.
What about some of the words we were talking about?
Yeah, I was going to
earlier?
say let's talk about the dialogue. We've talked about some of the cinematography, metaphors, some background and everything like that, some fun trivia. Let's talk about the dialogue in this movie, beyond the chemistry, just the words that they use.
Okay.
All right. What's one that stuck out to you?
Goocher.
Goocher.
Okay. I haven't done any research on that, but by the way he describes it in 10 seconds, you get that it's some sort of kid's superstition.
Yeah.
Moons
yeah,
and
jinx.
goochers.
Yeah, like it's a jinx of some
Yeah.
sort. That's when. So to kind of give the audience some context here, this is when they are at the junkyard, and they're all sitting around, trying to figure out who's going to go get the food,
The provisions.
the provisions. So they all flip their coins, and each one of them comes up with a tails, and that's when Vern says, "Danny."
He gets set off.
I don't remember what he says specifically.
He goes, "Oh man, that's a goocher."
Yeah.
And Teddy goes, "Come on, Vern. That's baby stuff. Nobody believes in that stuff about moons and goochers." And he goes, "No," and gets into this whole emotional story where some kids drinking and driving crashed a truck, and it was because they flipped tails right before it. But anyway, I had never heard that term before. We should probably look into it and see what the background on moons and goochers are.
Yeah, I think Danny's maybe doing that now.
Define goocher.
Chime back in when you don't ask Google to define goocher. Ask what it means and stand by me. I'll show you what a goocher
A rare
is.
coin flipping outcome where every person is an odd man out group flips tails. Popularized by Stephen King's novella The Body.
Can you say that into the
Say it
microphone?
into the mic.
A goocher is a rare flipping outcome where every person in an odd man out group flips tails. Popularized by Stephen King's novella The Body. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so
And adapted.
popularized means that it did exist before then, but we know it from this. So that was a thing then. It wasn't something Stephen King made up.
I was laughing at Danny.
Yeah, I know. I was too. You guys are over here being clowns.
Can you say that again?
What?
What was the definition of that?
A rare outcome when all the coins are flipped to tails.
So it's actually a term that specifically means when
all the tails.
all those coins flip to tails.
Yeah, there's no odd man out. Yeah,
Oh, wow. So I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I
Well-
thought that just meant a jinx of some kind in a general context, in a general way.
I guess it's a jinx in that fashion, which he makes it sound like to be the worst. But when he describes the story, he talks about two people flipping for beers, and they get into a car wreck, drunk driving, and it was because of that.
Right.
A goocher on a full moon.
You mean to tell me that's the only time that two people have flipped tails on one flip? It's pretty obvious that it would happen often.
Yeah. Well, so much so that it's in the dictionary.
Sure. At least it's in the Oracle.
It's in the Oracle. Yeah. What about some of the language that I thought was interesting? Goocher is one of them. Another one is that right after Gordy goes in and gets the canteen from his brother's room, and his dad says, "You got it," and then Gordy says, "Yeah," and he leaves the room. His dad shuts the door, and then the next thing you see is his dad saying, "Why don't you have friends like Denny's?"
Ouch.
And Gordy says, "They're okay." And then, of course, what does his dad say?
A thief and two Phoebes.
A thief and two Phoebes.
So
There's a thief and two Phoebes. And I thought, what is a Phoebe?
so it's short for feeble-minded person, or like an idiot or a dumbass, I guess.
Is that what we're guessing, or is that what we? Is that what we
No,
know?
the guess is idiot or dumbass, but it means feeble. It's short for feeble-minded person. Is an old term.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
So that is actually the definition of it is feeble,
Yeah. So I guess
feeble-minded.
yeah.
That's the what it means. Okay,
Yeah.
so that stuck out to me because I'm always interested in language of things that I don't know about, and
We got to watch a Coen Brothers movie then.
oh, for sure.
So
How about you, Brock?
what stuck out to me was the tirade of insults between Corey Feldman's character and the junkyard owner. So I've studied some of that and everything, and it had never occurred to me, and I'd even said the term before, crazier than a shithouse rat. But when you start to think about like what that means, rats are usually like around a food source or whatever, so that would be a pretty crazy rat to just be in an outhouse all the time.
Yeah.
And then he calls him a hula master, which basically means
I had to ask you what he meant by that.
a foul mouth hula master. So he's basically like just a little dancing guy,
Dancing in a hula hoop.
dancing in a
With a hula
hula skirt on stage. I would guess.
So it's meant to make him seem very effeminate. Then
Yes.
is a nice way to put it, right?
Yes. And then the other thing, you could look this up real quick, is when Gordy is pissed about the bullet going off behind the store.
Behind the restaurant. Yeah.
Behind the restaurant. And he... I also believe that Chris didn't know it was loaded.
So that's a really good question there.
I think that's a trust moment there for them.
I will have to say that and I don't want to derail you from your thought there, but since you brought this up, that's something that really stood out to me, is that the way Chris acts when the gun goes off and how he razzes him about it and goes on and on and on about it, it seems to me that he actually knew that the gun was loaded. And that's why I think Gordy really felt and believed that he knew that the gun was loaded. But it's not until we get Chris saying that he's going to swear and even go as far as pinky swearing over this.
Right.
Which I'm not sure, and see what you think, see what Danny thinks, but I'm not sure that he was telling the truth at that moment.
Interesting. I thought that he was. I think that both of them were dumbasses. Even if somebody tells you a gun is unloaded, I'm not going to pull the trigger on it.
Right.
You know? But I don't know.
At 12, though.
Like I said, it seems like a mistake on both of their parts.
Yeah.
And that Chris didn't know that it was truly one in the chamber there. So...
Speaking of, that's
One
funny
in Chambers
because
chamber.
yeah, because his last
one
name
in the
is
chamber.
Chambers.
So that didn't go over your head?
No. Okay. No. Danny, what did you think about that? Do you think that Chris knew or didn't know that the gun was loaded?
I honestly never gave it that much thought till right now, but my first thought was that it wasn't loaded because I didn't know he was the thief until later. So if he already has a history of, I guess you could say, lying or, something like that.
He paid for that crime with a 3-day vacation, though.
But when they said this time, they didn't even ask me if I did it. They just assumed it was him, which is why I'm saying he probably has a history of lying. So now that once you pointed that out, I thought, I don't know anymore.
Interesting. So
We know he's a questionable character, but I think that Gordy trusts him, and I think that Gordy trusts him. He doesn't have the best reputation, but I don't think that he nefariously did that.
Yeah.
Is all.
To Danny's point, I think that I don't know that there's a track record of him lying. In fact, when he's talking about taking the milk money, he told Gordy.
Hell yeah, I did.
Yeah, he's like, "Did you take it?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And he was very upfront about it, and Teddy knew as well. But the history that he has is not so much, I think, of him lying, but the history of his older brother being a hood and him coming from a home that everybody assumes that everybody in that household is a loser.
No matter what he does.
No matter what he does. Right. And that he actually did take this milk money, but he returned it. And it's interesting the way he says this. He doesn't just say, "Hey, I tried to take this back. I took it back, and I tried to give it back, but they wouldn't take it." Or they took it, and then they used it for their own. They spent it and blame me for it. But he's like, maybe, just maybe, suppose. Right. He uses words like that. Because I think that he's like saying, "Hey, is it possible to believe me? is it possible to believe that I didn't do this or that I did do this, but I tried to rectify it and come clean?
I hear all of that, and the only reason that I had the thought of a possible history of lying is when he says this time they didn't even ask me, as in he's been questioned before, meaning there have been other instances of either thievery or something.
Or just his association to his brother.
But still, he said this time they didn't even ask me, meaning normally he gets questioned when something goes awry.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a really good point. It's open-ended there as far as whether or not he himself has been in trouble doing something like this in the past.
Or just been accused.
Or just being
Yeah.
accused of it. So, some muddy water there.
For sure.
With leeches.
With leeches. And by the way, Brock, I did look it up, and leeches are found in the Pacific Northwest.
They are.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's why I didn't see them. I was just south of the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I looked it up too, and they're in Idaho and Washington and Oregon, which is crazy. Watch out up there, guys.
Yeah. Watch out.
Those are some big leeches in that movie.
Huge.
But to the point that I was making before the gunshot going off
Oh, yeah.
about dialogue is Gordy is pissed at Chris, and he calls him a rat hand.
A wet head.
No, that's later when he calls him a lead head.
A lead head. Okay.
Yeah, like no brain. But it starts with an R. A red head, a red hand, maybe. I don't know what he says exactly.
That tying back to thievery, red-handed.
I'll call out Taylor Gideon right here and say that a couple years ago he looked it up, and it means like you lying sack of shit, basically.
This phrase that he says.
The phrase that he says. I just don't know it off the top of my head right now. One other interesting piece of dialogue that I found is that what does Teddy call him when he tells him to go get the provisions? You morphodite? Is that what he calls him?
He doesn't say hermaphrodite.
No, he says He says morphodite.
Morphodite?
I think so.
I thought it started with an H. But it's not. Yeah, I thought it was something that started with an H that sounded like hermaphrodite.
I remember an H now that you're saying that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's not, and I think it's because he's saying this, but he doesn't know what a hermaphrodite is. So he's saying this word wrong.
That would make sense. Kind of like a hyboid gland.
Yes.
Morphodite.
A morphodite.
Gordy, go get the food, you morphodite.
Okay, and what is a morphodite?
Oh, it is a morphodite. Okay.
That's fine.
It's like it's probably like a single cell. I'm not even going to guess. I'll sound like an idiot right now.
Well, as Mark Twain said, it's better to keep your mouth shut and everybody assume that you're a fool
Than to open it
than to
and
open
prove
it
them right.
and remove all doubt.
Nice.
A morphodite is an informal, corrupted slang term for hermaphrodite.
So both are right.
Best comeback ever, though. He says, "Don't call me any of your mother's pet names."
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, the narrator talks about how it was amazing that and how awesome it was that it was revered to be able to talk about somebody else's mother in the most disgusting
way possible. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that rings true with each generation. That's nothing special.
Yeah. Was that like that when you were 12 or 13?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Doesn't
Not you?
Oh, yeah. So there was the, your mama is
Sure.
so fat,
Sure.
et cetera, et cetera. But my mom's actually gorgeous and tough and cool. So
Yeah, she is.
nobody ever really talked about her like that because, one, she was in another class, but two, she would kick your ass.
I never defended my mom. That morphodite.
Why? Oh, that's awful. Why?
Different podcast, bro.
Different podcast. Okay.
Okay, wait. Tying back into the mothers thing, he also mentions the narrator, the mothers, about the two who spilled the beans because they obviously don't care about their mothers because they swore on their mothers.
Because they swore on their mother. Yeah.
So he does that, and then hold on. Oh, another dialogue thing that I love is when Gordy's brother calls him the son of a whore.
Oh,
Which is his mom.
No, Vern's brother. That's what I said.
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
Yes. Vern's
Vern,
brother.
you little son of a whore,
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's like, bro, that's your brother. That's your mom too.
Yeah. That's your mom, too. Yeah.
He belongs in the Cobras.
Yes. Yes. Well casted.
How about there was something you were talking about earlier that I found pretty interesting with regard to the dialogue. I'm sorry, I'm glad we have editing because it escapes me now. You brought up another word that you liked, and I think it was around the junkyard scene.
All I remember is you pointing out Hula Master.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Hula Master. The junkyard scene where Teddy charges at the fence.
Yes.
Because the junkyard.
That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, the junkyard owner says that his dad's a loony.
Right.
And he says, "What did you say about me?" He says, "Oh, your dad's a loony." He says, "Wait, one more time, loony, loony, loony." And then Teddy charges the fence, and he says, "I'm gonna rip off your head and shit down your neck." Now that phrase stands out.
It does.
And
he's above him at that time, yelling down at him.
yes, he's on the fence yelling down at him, and he delivers it with such passion and anger that, I actually used that phrase in an acting class when we were doing the mastery, where you had to show anger. And I said that, and it stuck out so much that the entire rest of the weekend was sort of dubbed the anger weekend because of that line. Yeah.
The drill instructor from Full Metal Jacket uses it when yelling at, but I think he says unscrew your head and shit down your neck.
Ah, okay.
Visibly, both of these are hilarious if you try to visualize them.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy whose grandpa used to yell that at us when we would mess with him and play pranks and stuff like that. And so I heard that as a young man, and we always thought it was really silly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He'd say, "I'll rip off your
I'm going to
head."
rip you off your heads and shit down y'all's neck. Chasing us through the yard.
While he's chasing you.
Yeah.
Not unlike the junkyard scene.
Pretty much. There was no dog, though.
Chopper.
That's a good line, too. Chopper was not sick balls. Chopper was my first lesson of what did you say, adolescence, of the difference between myth and reality.
Yes.
And you got like this little half-breed golden retriever that after it does bite Teddy's shirt, it cowers in the sand in front of him.
Yeah, it just sort of plays in it.
You think it's going to be something like from the Sandlot, like the Beast coming at him.
Right, Cujo.
And it looks like a dog that any of my friends would have had growing up.
Right. The myth, because it was so rarely seen.
Right. And probably because some of these little turds in the dark went screwing around there and got chased by a barking dog, and the story just gets bigger and bigger.
Oh, sure.
You know how it goes.
The mythology.
Yeah, hell yeah. Childhood mythology is a big deal.
Childhood mythology is a big deal. Absolutely.
Yep. So dialogue, with that, I would say not every movie's perfect. And this is kind of my favorite part sometimes, especially about great movies, because this always brings up some good conversation. I've seen this movie no less than 100 times. I just told you I saw it 3 times in 20 days. Let's talk about some logic issues.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Curveball here. These are the logic issues that I've identified in this movie. He pays for $1.50 a ham, right?
Yes.
But they end up with cooking hamburgers.
Yeah, it looks like hamburger meat that they're in the at the campfire with the hamburger meat on the edge of the sticks.
Right, like balled up.
Balled up hamburger meat at the edge of the sticks.
And he does get hamburger buns.
He does at the store, yeah.
But it seems pretty clear to me that the guy says, "There you go, kid, $1.50 a ham."
Yeah, and he's actually using a deli weight scale. He's using a deli scale and deli wax paper when he puts the meat on it. So it seems like it's ham.
That was pretty common for meat, though,
For
back
hamburger
then.
as
any
well.
kind of
Even,
meat?
yeah, you'd get
Yeah.
your pre-ground meats are like fresh by the pound like that, and they put it like the seafood wrap that we had our trout in.
Okay, so that's not the whole logic issue here. They have no ice chests. They're walking around with a pound of hamburger in their backpack all day is gross.
Well, we don't know the time between when they bought it to when they had the campfire, like how
Well,
long that walk was.
We
If
do
it was
know-
30 minutes, you would think it was gross.
That's me.
Yeah, we do know that it was daytime when he bought the food, and we know that it was nighttime at a campfire when they were cooking it. So
Yeah,
we
you're right.
definitely know that there's been at least an hour or
And they're
so.
not too far into the journey when they realize
The-
that they don't have food. So
The sun is pretty straight up when they flip for who goes.
Yeah,
It's pretty noonish to me, is what I'm getting at. That's a long time.
yeah, it's definitely a bit of time that passes.
Right.
So how long does it last? You know,
Either way, it's gross.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting at. Really?
yeah.
go ahead.
She accidentally hit
Danny's
the mic.
over here knocking the microphone around. The other logic issue.
So have we resolved that?
I don't think there is a resolve to it. It's just what you consider gross or not.
Well, have we resolved whether it was ham or hamburger?
Oh, okay. They cooked hamburger. That's pretty clear to me. That's not ham balled up on those sticks.
No. But it looks like
with you, that's a deli scale with deli paper,
But he bought hamburger buns.
hamburger buns, and he says, "There you go, kid, $1.50 a ham."
Yes.
So
it sounds to me like, and it seems to me like in the movie that there is a flawed continuity where he buys ham at the store, at the general store, and hamburger buns, and then when they're camping out later that night, they're using sticks to put balled up hamburger meat on the ends of the sticks over the campfire to cook it.
right.
So I think you're right that there's a flawed continuity issue there.
Okay.
What was the other one you were going to mention?
And this is a big one.
Okay.
Danny, pull up the population today of Brownsville, Oregon, real quick. While she's doing that, the ending scene, not the very final one, but at the body with the confrontation between the Cobras and Chris Chambers' gang. What is it?
For 2005, it was estimated to be approximately 1,904.
Okay, so by that logic, we could imagine what it would be in 59, right? That
1,954 people in 2005.
yeah,
1,904.
9,000. Okay.
yeah.
So
So you could imagine what it would be in 59, and I'm just going off the size of the town because it's what they used in
Right.
the movie. When he says, "We're not going to forget about this. This is, and we'll see you again. Maybe you will, and maybe you won't." Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to see each other tomorrow.
right.
You're not hiding on the southeast side. You're not jumping on a train and going up to the northeast to a different area. This is what it is.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you that it's not in Ace's character to not get revenge.
Right.
It's not in his character to not come back and be 10 times more vicious than he had been before. Like a kid pulling a gun on him, his character anyway is not going to let that slide.
Yeah.
So what happens? Why do we not know what happens after that? Like, we know that Gordy grows up. We know that Chris Chambers grows up, goes to college, and becomes a lawyer. But
Yeah,
there's
right.
never any reconciliation of what happens between those two gangs afterwards.
Do you think he could have just written it off since he got his hat, he pointed a gun at him? They both did something pretty major.
No.
No. And what?
Thanks for playing.
What is it?
Sincerely?
Sincerely. No, I don't think so. I think it's in Ace's character that he would get revenge.
And
Retaliate?
the line that he says is, "We're not going to forget about this if that's what you think.
Yeah.
This is big time, baby."
This is big time,
Yeah.
baby.
And he goes, or something about, "We'll see you again." And that's when Chris goes, "Maybe you will, and maybe you won't." My point is, you're damn sure going to see each other again.
Yeah.
Probably even the next day, if not
I
tomorrow.
just looked it up. The population in 1960 was 875.
Okay. Well,
In 1960.
so each of them had a kid between then and
It's Vern's 4 children.
Vern's 4 children. Nice. The kid who played Vern, by the way, we know the tragedy of River Phoenix. Again, rest in peace. On a trajectory to be a brilliant actor.
Absolutely.
And
Was already.
but let's not overlook the fact that, yeah, very, very true. That Jerry O'Connell grew up and married Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
She's his
Vern.
penny.
What's that?
She's his pennies.
Yeah.
He found him.
Yep, he found his pennies.
Vern grew up. Yeah, and looks virtually nothing like he did in the movie Stand By Me, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
10 years later.
I would say that those would be two completely different people, but it's the same person.
I had no idea until he told me that was Jerry O'Connell.
When you really?
With Vern.
When you saw a current picture of Jerry O'Connell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know what he looks like, Flynn?
What's that?
Do you know what he looks like?
Currently.
Have you seen him? Jerry O'Connell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he in Jerry Maguire?
I think so. But he was in
And that's not current, but
he was in Scream like 10 years later. That was 96. And it's almost unrecognizable. It's crazy.
really.
Huh?
Who is he in Scream?
Maybe it was Scream 2.
Is he a young person, like one of the main ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. What about you? What stands out to you as a logic issue? You like to pick these things apart, especially when people talk about perfect movies.
Yeah. So I've talked about already more of what I was looking at were character differences that it did not look to me like the character was being honored or true in that what they were doing or saying, I felt like it's not what the character would do.
Right.
But as far as, editing mistakes or logistical or continuity mistakes, things like that, we definitely picked out the one where he was at the store getting the ham or the hamburger. That stood out the most to me. I can't think of anything else that stood out to me in that way. Do you have another one?
No, it's a pretty tight film with those are the only loose ends that I've ever came up with, and one of them is just a continuity error, which we expect in any movie. The final one of the what happened the next day is the only one that ever weighed on me,
Yeah.
And I talked about that with another buddy before, and he was like, yeah, even just a 45-second scene of the Cobras getting pulled over by the cops for stealing the Dodge would have ended a lot, That's what happened to them,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. right afterwards of them going back home pissed off and getting pulled over and getting tracked to the Dodge that was stolen that was mentioned previously in the movie.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that Jerry O'Connell was in Scream 2, and it was 11 years after Stand By Me.
So 92? No, I mean
97.
97. Math was not a strong suit.
And
for me.
he's a main character in it. Here he is with.
So I have not seen that.
Who's that? That's Neve Campbell, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can look this up on Google or IMDb. He definitely looks a lot different than he did in Stand By Me.
He looks like he would have made it across that bridge with no help.
Yeah. And in Jerry Maguire, doesn't he play a football player?
I believe so.
Yeah. So he's come a long way, Vern. And what about that lisp? Do you think it was real, or do you think it was a part of his character?
I think it was real. I think that agents later on got him into some classes to probably shed it.
You think so?
I think so.
Do you think Teddy's making fun of him with the lisp when he's calling him a pussy?
No.
Does he have his own lisp? Because he's like, pussy? And
Yeah,
he kind of says
Corey-
it like that to...
I mean, lisps. Sorry, I say the word as I have one. Are kind of a spectrum thing, and Corey Feldman's voice in that is just Corey Feldman. That's how he talks.
Yeah.
Watch us all watch our S's now as we're talking.
Right.
Sincerely.
Sincerely. So how about that blueberry pie?
Well, that's the only final part that we didn't talk about is Gordy's story, which revolves around the blueberry pie eating contest.
True. You want to talk about how we made this pie?
On a different podcast, we can talk pies all day.
You want to talk about how we made our blueberry pie tonight?
Sure, I can
Give
do
the
that.
recipe and instructions
Yeah.
to the followers.
We can do that. You want me to type it up and you can put it in the comments?
No, let's describe it.
The blueberry pie is very simply made. There's a lot of different recipes out there on how to make like a picture perfect blueberry pie. But this one was made just by basically making a compote in the pan first, which is kind of sacrilege.
What's a compote?
It's where you cook berries down with some sugar until they become jammy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought you were being facetious.
And it could be more than that. That's what I know it as. And then we bought some nice Hill Country Fare 2-pack. Very, very kind of them. So I didn't.
Vivid instructions on the back of the box.
Some instructions, yeah.
That were actually hilarious when reading.
A little difficult to decipher, but either way, it turned out good. It's a good blueberry pie. We have a top and a bottom, a crimped edge, the 4 classical, as I would call it, like Tom and Jerry steam holes on the top, right?
Yeah.
Very cartoon-esque pie here.
Yeah.
We rested it on a diner nook.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a great photo of Flynn in the nook with his pie fresh out of the oven.
And the steelhead was delicious. The asparagus was delicious. Very simple, baked one-pan dish. I do a podcast on easy home cooking, too, if anybody's interested.
You should.
It's called The Cast Iron Maiden.
It's called The Cast Iron Maiden, and it's on YouTube, actually. It's not a podcast. You can watch me doing this shit.
Oh, that's awesome.
But anyway, all the food turned out great, and it was a great movie to watch with you and a great movie to discuss with you.
Thanks so much. I've had a great time. Danny, thank you so much, too.
Thanks for having us.
Any other thoughts that you have, Danny?
On the movie,
or anything?
I have a thought for a next movie.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Would we eat squirrel for that, Everett?
Gopher.
Gopher. That's what.
Gopher, Everett?
A whole gopher village.
The whole Gopher village. Okay.
No, we have horse.
No, but I appreciate you having me for this. The like I said, let's dive into some movies, and you guys will be hearing from me on here for sure.
Outstanding. Thank you both for sharing this with me. Thanks for having the food and the movie. This is Ravenous Reels, that we are talking about movies and the food that we make to go with them. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Flynn, and we will have the next podcast soon, and we'll see what we get into then.